So
Sounds like a lot of it.
yeah, I've known Bob for at least 15 years. Might be longer, I don't know.
Still talks you, that's amazing.
He lives in Redondo. That's where I used to live before I moved up here, and we were both in the Redondo Beach Art Group. We also we used to have a thing called Power of Art. I don't know if that's still going on or not, but it was a big art show put on in the AES power plant, the section that was decommissioned, and it's a huge space, probably 100 yards long and 50 yards wide. I don't know, it's huge. And uh, the first year, the first night, we had something like 5,000 people show up for that event. So it was a pretty big deal. It was going on for about 10, 12 years. I don't really remember. But anyway, and so that's basically it. Bob makes, among other things, very large prints of is it flatbed scanner you use, Bob? Yeah, so he puts flowers on flatbed scanners and produces these really magnificent photos. But I'll let Bob tell you a little bit more about himself.
Sure. Yeah, before I met Jim and before I retired, I was a art director and a graphic designer in Los Angeles for my whole career, and worked myself up to senior vice president, creative director at Ruben Poster, which had, among the other things, the Honda automobile account and Acura. So I was directing catalog shoots and stuff like that. So I've been hiring and photographers and criticizing their work for my entire career. It's one of the things you do. And I worked with some fabulous photographers, so I feel very lucky. And I gleaned little things about the business from them. And they remain many of my friends, are these guys and gals. So that's kind of what I did for 40 plus years. Then I went on my own, and then when everything sort of came tumbling down in 2008, I just said, maybe that's a sign. And so I just started messing about. I've always been a photographer, always loved it. Done it ever since I took my first class at the Art Center. They had a foundation program there where, even though I was an ad major and a graphic design major, they said, you have to learn how to take photographs because you're going to be judging photographs for your entire career. That's what you do. That's one of the things you do, is hire photographers. And so I did, and I was mesmerized. I loved it. I just thought it was great. So that started me off on there, and then working with these amazing photographers, many of them, and a few in particular, mentored me when I was messing about with fine art photography and so on. So anyway, so that's really my background. And then, like I say, I just do fine art now, and I'm involved in, we have our photographic group down here, which I'm the president of this year. That was the Jim and I shared membership in that. So that's kind of my story, and I'm sticking with it. So anyway, so the last time I did this for you guys, I enjoyed it. I hopefully you guys got something out of it, and I wasn't too mean. Yes. But there's some wonderful images that you've shown me this time that be happy to get to whenever you're ready.
Okay. Anything else, anybody? Otherwise, I'll start doing this.
Okay, so color or black and white first?
It'll be color first.
Okay.
And just so refresh your memory, Bob, what we're going to do is we will show, we have two categories, color and monochrome, and we'll show the color category first. We'll do a run through that'll just be looking at the photos. so that you see what they are, everybody can see what they are. And then we will do another run through where you will give your critique and scores.
Mm-hmm.
And when that's done, we'll do a third run through where we uh, uh, basically tell the scores and what place the photos showed up in.
Yeah.
So anyway, so let me see if I can do that here. And
You are recording.
I am recording. Thank you, Tony. Okay. I got to get my screen set up here a little bit because I've got to be able to see what I'm doing here, and this WebEx stuff gets in the way all the time. Okay, so let's do this. Okay.
Oh, that looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, so here's the run through, okay? The first one. Okay, here we are at the beginning again.
This one is titled Bloop.
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 Okay.
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah. Okay, Bob, it's your
All right. I just want to admonish you all about one thing is that WebEx is not as good as a JPEG on your desktop.
right.
So you're going to be looking at stuff and I may make comments that you're not even going to see. So I'll just explain, what it is. That in the case of there were a few that had some artifacts, and I'm not sure you're going to be able to see those here. And then another thing I'm going to say about any of this is that I always judge the images as what would it mean if it were a print. So I would assume that the artist would print something that looks very much like this. And then I would imagine that print, looking at that print hanging on a wall or holding it in front of me. So that's how I judge photography. I'm still the old-fashioned guy that's thinking of prints all the time. So that's where I come from on a lot of this. Bloop here, I gave the sign of the devil, 666. And the reason I didn't give it 777 is a couple of things. In this image, you can see, particularly in the upper right-hand corner, in the first thing, which is called technical prowess or something like that, the first number. I saw some artifacts in this that I thought that detracted. And I don't know whether it was from the either the lens that was used or perhaps something done in post, perhaps some sharpening or enlarging. There are areas that are very smooth, other areas that are very rough, and that often indicates perhaps over over processing. And then and then in the second category, which is I also gave a 6,
Right.
was yeah, that was composition, i.e. color, staging, whatever, of the print. And it didn't quite make it for me again, because we had this big, I'm not sure why it's off center per se. And then if we were going to do that, then I would say that bright upper right hand corner should go through the bright left hand corner. But anyway, so I'm a little confused about where am I supposed to be looking, because the right hand corner I think could have been knocked down about a stop, and that would have improved this image, I think.
So the score was an 18?
The score would be an 18, yeah.
Okay.
And then it's pretty gripping. I mean, you're going to go, wow, look at that. But I think a lot of us have seen it before. So the one thing I will look for in as far as impact would be, wow, I haven't seen that before. So that's what I would save the 7s for.
Okay.
Or wow, I'm seeing something in a very different way. So
Okay. All right. Next.
Catch Me If
okay.
You Can.
Yes. Okay. I think this is a very fun family snapshot. But it's only has meaning, I think, to those kids and the people that are related to them. I don't feel it's a piece of art. And so I gave it a 2, 3, 3. And it's overexposed.
That's 8.
Yeah. And it's a
Okay.
little soft, even in the original that I was looking at. Softer here, again, thanks to Microsoft. But, or I'm sorry, it's
Cisco.
Cisco. So bad. They're bad. Anyway.
Okay.
So that's whoever's keeping score, 2, 3, 3.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
We only that's fine. We just actually put the total score down. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
I'm doing
okay.
okay.
I didn't have to break it apart necessarily.
Well, what did you say, Elaine? Did you put
I
it
said
down?
I'm fine with that either way.
Well, whatever you do, I'm keeping score also. I just put the total score down. So anyway,
That's what I'm putting
that's
down.
neither here nor there, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys want
Right.
those individual numbers,
Right.
because it says, because some of these I find very impactful, but I
Right.
find some real problems with the processing in the front.
Right.
So
No,
things like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, we do want to hear those numbers, but for the total score,
That's
at least I just do the total score because that's what we're gonna.
whoever's keeping tally. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And this
Again,
is titled Lower Yosemite Falls.
Right. And again, this appears much softer than the original that I saw. So I thought it was technically well done. The person got their exposure, got their timing. I like the lengthy timing, so we get a little softening of the water, which kind of goes along with the rainbow effect that we're seeing. But it sort of falls down, I thought, in composition, because this should be all about the rainbow and the rainfall. And I'm seeing some very bright rocks in the front. And I'm not sure why they have such importance. I see the water, coming from, obviously the waterfall, but this image is kind of split. The emphasis is split between these foreground rocks, which are interesting, certainly, in the water down there. And then I got this other thing going on in the background, which is, I think, really the star of the shot. So I think that was a missed opportunity. Maybe some cropping or some dodging and burning might have helped this more.
So what's your score?
644.
644. That's 14.
Yeah.
14.
Okay.
Sea Dragon.
Yes.
There it is. Very good.
That's a fun find. I mean, and I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking that's pretty cool, but I have some problems with it technically, and that is that I'm not sure. I believe it's a compositing, or certainly emphasizing something over something else, or we're working with the sky independent of the rock and the waves, because around the rock, you've got an artifact of an edging. And I really, when I look at photography, that always grabs me, and it says fake. It's a lovely shot. The way it's put together, I love the play between the warm sky and the blue water. But it stands out to me when I look at this, and you can kind of see it on even on the WebEx version. There's this little glow around the rock, and it just comes from. Typically, it comes from either emphasizing, de-emphasizing the sky, dropping in a pretend sky. Something in here isn't working for me. So that I always kind of have a problem with that. It's something that's hard to work with, but you got to do it. You just got to do it. So that one, I ended up with a 5.55.
15. 1.5.
Yep.
Okay.
Splashdown.
Okay. This is interesting. It reminds me of a stock photograph that's at least 15 or 20 years old of a actual goldfish jumping out from one bowl into the other. It was done better than this. This one, it appears that again, there's a lot of compositing in this because there's some weird things that happen. I wish I could. How does that pointer thing work? Is there a way that I can do a pointer on this, Jim? I read something in Dudna's.
Yeah, there is supposed to be,
that,
but I'm not sure exactly how to do that. I've never done it before.
okay, well,
Just,
never. Okay, well, let's just say.
Yeah, just use
to begin with. Look at the fish, the little toy fish, and you split down the middle. I don't know where that line came from, but if I was putting this together, I would have gotten rid of that line. I don't understand it, and there's just a few things in here that I'm not sure I understand. And so if it was composited, i.e., image of fish, which I think happened, then the bowl, then somebody dropped something in the bowl to make it splash. I mean, that's all fine, but I almost feel like, gosh, go buy yourself a half a dozen goldfish, throw them in the bowl, and start shooting. I mean, so that one I just gave 5.54.
Okay, 14.
Yeah. In other words, just a thing on that, and again, I don't know. Maybe that's exactly what happened. But one of the things I think about compositing or putting things together is putting something together that's fantastical. In other words, wow, I really haven't ever seen that before. So, but putting some compositing or doing a lot of Photoshop composing to create something that maybe if you spent the afternoon, you could probably get a great shot. I don't think that's a good use of a photographer's time. So anyway, that's just what that is.
This is titled Tumalo Falls.
Tumalo. Okay. I'm just gonna say it's a fine shot. I would expect to find that on a postcard in the gift shop. I don't, there's not enough going on with the light. The exposure is fine, I guess, although I would have run it down another 2/3 of a stop or more just to let the water become more important than the trees. And maybe, a different time of day. And I'm not sure why it's offset. There may have been something very ugly on the left, but I could have done with less on the right. So I think that it could have just used more care, I think.
And the score?
Oh, I'm sorry. Tumalo. That'd be 433.
433, that's a 10, huh?
Yeah.
Waves of fun.
Now I like this a lot. There's some technical problems. I would have loved it if the kids had been sharp. It's shot with a fairly slow shutter, maybe a 1/25th, maybe less or longer. So it appears there would have been plenty of light to do that. I love the stacking. Gosh, you had a great set of waves there. So from that standpoint, as far as composition, color, whatever, I gave it a 6. I took a ding out of the front of it because I would have liked to see something sharp in this. It just seems like we missed it. It happened too fast. We didn't get our settings right. And then, but boy, I would have been a very impactful, fun shot, I think. And then maybe you could have paid the kids to do backflips or something. It would have been even more fun. But yeah, but that's pretty good. That's great light. That's cool. Yeah.
So what's the scores?
So we saying Waves of Fun, 566.
566 at 17.
Yeah.
A gold sunset at Halama.
Okay. And again, trust me, people, it's much sharper than it appears here, but not sharp enough for me. It was again, I think we're using the drop the sky in filter. And I don't think it was done very well because all along the ridge line, you can see this halo. I think even on the WebEx version, you can see that. In my book, that's a no-no. If you're going to drop in a sky, you got to fool me. You got to really fool me. And I also don't see the sky reflected in the water. So now I know I'm really being fooled. Now, that's not to say that people do that all the time to great effect, right? But in this case, it's either you got to do it so you're saying, hey, I'm doing something outrageous with this photo in post, or I'm just trying to enhance the scene that I captured and make it work better for me. But in this case, it just felt a little too contrived. And so I went Gold Sunset. I went a 4 because of the bad compositing, and a 3, it was just everything's the same color. We don't have, it's all kind of flat in it. And so I would say, and a 5 at the end is that was in a hopeful way to say, boy, I bet you could have got it really great just by getting a good shot off at the right time of day. So
that's a 12?
It appears maybe like a save, I guess is what I'm saying. So,
okay.
Okay.
So it's a 12. Is that what?
Yeah, 435.
Right.
Okay.
A new sensation.
Right. Again, a lovely photo for the family. I don't see it as in the realm of art photography, which I think we're looking for here. But it is lovely. So I'm sure the family's very happy. So I'd say that's 913, 454. Yeah, I think it was great because the little one they're great. They're wonderful. They're amazing. I think we could have either focused more on him, or maybe it would have been fun. Maybe if we came in tighter. And this is just ideas to think about when you're shooting something like this. Okay, one, we don't see the grandmother. All we see is her hands and her legs. And it reminds me of that shot in New York that was done of somebody walking a Great Dane next to a Chihuahua. And all you see is the legs of the Great Dane and the Chihuahua
That's
on
an
the sidewalk, right?
yeah.
This would have been great if we could have come in closer and we just got the little dude playing in the sand and we just saw grandma's legs in her hands. That would have been a great shot.
That's an Elliot Erwitt photo that you were just talking about.
The Dane and the
Yep.
Chihuahua. Yeah. Great classic piece of
Yeah.
work. Yeah. So anyway, so here we are. New sensation. That'd be 454.
454.
13.
That's
13.
13. Right.
Okay.
Telford River at Gwick Cornwall.
Yeah, that sounds like the UK. Okay. This I'm kind of going, I'm not sure why we shot this. I'm thinking it's, there's a couple of things in here that kind of mix it up for me. One, I'm looking at this old bridge, which is cool. Old bridges are fun. The damn thing's probably 1,000 years old. Then I'm looking way over on the right. I've got this telephone box, old English, telephone, and I'm kind of going, I think we have two shots here. I would have sure studied the bridge, maybe without the quasi-modern house behind it, but I definitely would have gone over the bridge and went over and did some shots of that awesome red phone booth. So it's just sort of it. So again, it's sort of it's more of a snap than a piece of art. So I went 433 on this.
10.
Okay.
Okay.
Kerplop.
And God knows whatever this is, but it's intriguing as hell. So I gave it a 6. I'm going, well, good job. I mean, that's cool. The only reason I didn't give it a 7 is that, yeah, I don't know what it is. It's almost more fun when you're doing an abstract, when you can kind of figure it out and go, wow, that's a great abstract. But anyway, it's impactful. It's got a lovely bit of mystery to it. And in composition, I was going with it. And then I looked up in the upper left-hand corner and I went, why is that in there? Tiny little triangle of the other edge of the bowl, cup, whatever it is, the vessel. And I just think, I don't know. Somebody should have cropped that out. It's kind of distracting because the emphasis here is the splash, which was wonderfully caught. And again, trust me, it's very sharp. So they got that right. So this one I'm given a 656.
656. That's a 17.
17.
Yep.
Raindrops on a feather.
Yeah, had me going. When I first saw it, I was thinking, well, is this a palm frond, a leaf, but a feather? That's really cool. And you're seeing, what happens to why water drops off of a duck's back, right? So, so I like this a lot. I gave it a 6s all across, so that's an 18. The reason I didn't give it 7s is a couple of them. I think the composition's a little funny because we have the stem, or what do you call it, the middle of the feather, the bony part, is going across at the bottom in a horizontal fashion, and I'm not sure why. That could have been on purpose. I love seeing the magnification of the drops, which is very cool. but I thought the composition was a little awkward from that part. I might have gave it a little Dutch. I mean, tilted it a little bit. And then the other thing that I thought, okay, here we are, we have this stark sharpness. I mean, you're looking at the fibers of the feather. I mean, it's literally almost microscopic details in the feather, which is, again, another wonder of nature. But then in the upper right-hand corner, we go soft. And I'm thinking, this would have been stronger if it had all been sharp, all been nailed. So, so anyway, so that's why I gave it, again, hang on.
18?
18 is what you gave it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
the sign of the devil.
Right.
Yes.
All
Okay.
right.
All right. Gilded Eddie.
Gilded Eddie.
Yeah. Fascinating. I have no idea what I'm looking at, but it's really interesting. I'm guessing there's this reflection going on. And it's either a very fancy bathroom when we're looking at the toilet, or I'm not sure what it is, but it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And I thought this was really a nice piece of work. I gave it 676.
676. So that's a what?
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that they
17?
I mean, you could have just looked right at the center, the vortex, but I love that we got some deeper blues and a little mini vortex coming off to the right. And as we blend into the surface, whatever it is, I thought that was interesting, very interesting. So yeah,
All right.
yeah, yep. Okay,
Whale splash.
the remnants of a whale. This is interesting piece. I mean, I don't even see any whale, but I'm going to trust you on this. But there was a couple of things. There was some sharpening done on this that I thought was probably not working for me. It looks better here, literally, you have to take my word for it, than it does in the JPEG that I received, because there was some sharpening done, and either that or and it's hard to tell the difference. What it might have been enlarged using an AI filter like Topaz or something, or on one. But the water to the left, the horizon line, got a little weird looking, and some of the splashes stood out as very sharp, where it's the other splashes around it, way up here at the top where it's hitting the sky. It just came off weird looking, and I thought, again, maybe that was purposeful. It almost made it look painterly, like a Turner painting or something. But I thought it was a little weird, so I kind of gave it a little bit of a hit on that. So we got a 5.55 for this one. And I thought at the end, I thought a little too much blue. It would have been more interesting if we could have had a little more gray in the sky, maybe. It's kind of blue on blue. So
Okay.
5.55.
All right.
Firefall. I'm sorry, I keep speaking over you. I'm so sorry. Okay, Firefall. Yes. I know what this is. This is a very rare event. I think it's only for a day or two every year. And so lucky you were there. But I think you could have done better. I think your positioning, I know that the valley's full of trees, so trying to get a clear shot of this puppy is pretty tough. But in post, I think you could have done better. I think I like the trees are a nice, kind of telling me where we are. The kind of skinny one that's on the left, I'm not too impressed with. I'm not sure why we included that. I would have rather we moved our camera to the right, because I love the trees that are in the dark, and you did a nice job of maintaining shadow detail, so we know what those are, while we're still having the brilliance of the firefall. And that would have also given us less sky, because the sky here is so bright that I'm sort of losing a little bit of that little kiss of light on the upper left of the cliff and the actual fall. So anyway, so I kind of gave that a 5.45, and then we've certainly seen a lot of pictures of Firefall, so I would want to see something different about it, I think.
Joy.
Joy. Now, I don't know if that is actually joy or we're just having fun, but again, it's a lovely snapshot of this girl, but I don't feel that we've taken it to the level of art or street art or beach art, as it were. So that I gave a 4.44.
Okay.
Lovely child, though.
The process of erosion.
Yes. Fascinating shot, actually. So I gave that a 7. They did everything right, I think, from the standpoint of exposure, catching the peak of the splash. So I was impressed with the photographer's, wherewithal to make this happen. I love the little detail of the grass on the bluff there. So that's quite a capture. That's a good job. I would have worked a little more with possibly contrast, and again, that's just a personal thing, and it does have this overwhelming bluishness to it, but I think that works because the muddy wave, you want to contrast that with the cool, foggy setting. So the only other thing I would have said is that, God, if we'd panned a little bit more right, but I know that you're trying to catch a wave. You probably saw this wave explode, and then you've probably sat there for another 45 minutes waiting for another one, and you didn't want to miss it, so you kept a fairly wide thing. But it would have been more fun if we saw a little more of the shore, that which is eroding. But boy, I give it a 7.66.
That's a 19.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
We need to break the tie between number 17 and number 13.
17. Okay, let me come down here. Between number
The Gilded Eddy, number 13, and
Uh-huh.
this last one, The Process of Erosion, 17.
So those were both,
19.
Let's see.
So we need to pick a first and
Oops. I did something wrong there. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry.
You're stuck now.
Yeah, it'll take a minute. Let's see. There we go.
yeah.
We're supposed to put them in. I forgot how to do this.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can do them both at once.
Yeah, there's a way to do that.
Sure. Okay.
But I don't remember. Wait a minute. Here we go. Review mode. Oops. Hang on. Review mode. I think that's the way we do it. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you get to choose here. What are we choosing for, Elaine?
This one
Should
for
second.
first and one for second.
First and second. Okay, very good.
Okay, so when I decide which one is the better of the
Right.
two,
Yeah.
and that's me deciding.
Hang on. For some reason, let me get out of this. I thought it was dead. Sorry about that. It's a good thing I didn't have the pornography up there.
Yeah, God's sakes, holy moly.
Was that you when you were younger, Jim?
Yeah, that was actually Albert Finney.
Really?
Yeah.
Funny. Funny.
Okay. Can you see the two photos now?
Yeah, we do. And
Okay.
I think just the power of the picture, I've got to have to say the Gilded Eddie. I would put as number one and the other as number two.
Okay. One is the Gilded Eddie, and what's the other? Oh, the other one is. Whoops. Hang on.
Yeah.
Process of erosion.
Process of erosion.
Okay. One, and then I'm trying to find 19. Oh, and then process of erosion is number 2. Second.
Is that how that works? Yeah.
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 Because
And
nobody
then-
else had a 17.
Yeah.
And
Then there's some ties, aren't there, Elaine?
yeah, there's another tie between number 12, Raindrops on a Feather, and Bloop, the first one.
Okay, hang on a second. I've got stuff all over my screen that's causing problems here. Okay, so number 12.
Would be number 12, Raindrops on a Feather,
Uh-huh.
and Bloop, which is the first one.
Number one.
Number 1.
And we're going to pick a third and an honorable mention between those two.
Okay.
A third and an honorable mention. Okay.
I'm going to go with Raindrops because it's just something you don't see all the time. That's a marvelous capture of a piece of miracle of nature.
Okay.
So that I think as far as a photographer's vision, I think the Raindrop is superior to the other one.
Okay, and then Bloop is honorable mention. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to go back through one more time and
I'll name the winners and the
And
makers.
okay, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
This is Bloop by Cheryl Decker and honorable mention. Catch Me If You Can by Harold Litweiler. Lower Yosemite Falls by Jeannie Sparks. Sea Dragon by Elaine Calvert. Splashdown by Tony Martindale. Tumalo Falls by Gregory Doudna. Waves of Fun by Penny Powell. A Gull Sunset at Halama by Gregory Doudna. A New Sensation by Harold Litweiler. Helford River at Gweek Corwall by Tony Martindale. Verplop by Cheryl Decker. Raindrops on a Feather in our third place by Penny Powell.
Yeah, very nice, Penny.
Mm-hmm.
The Gilded Eddie in first place by Elaine Calvert.
Nice going, Elaine. That's
Thank
really
you.
beautiful.
Thanks. Whale Splash by Jeannie Sparks. Firefall by Jeannie Sparks. Joy by Harold Litweiler.
Harold's having fun in Spain, so
It must be.
yeah.
And The Process of Erosion, second place by Elaine Calvert.
Very nice, Elaine.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, that's I really like this photo, Elaine. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
just
thank
great.
you.
Yeah.
It was as dramatic to be there as it looked.
Was it a storm?
There was a storm. It wasn't raining, but we had, higher than usual waves.
Yeah. Where is this?
This is in
Her bathtub.
in Cambria, and the reason I didn't include more on the right was there was a parking lot and
Oh, yeah.
other stuff there.
Sure.
But yeah,
Understand that.
it was fun, but it was throwing rocks at us.
Well, I
Look
can
in the middle
see
of the
that.
wave, there's a black spot. That's a rock.
There's a bit of schmutz right there between the tree and the wave, and I'm guessing that's probably pieces of gravel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Very nice. But the whole right side just has this feeling of Japanese print. I mean, that's just gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to now
Seed.
move to monochrome.
I'm going to run down give me 30 seconds. I'll be back.
Okay. Somebody put a chat up there. I didn't see what it was.
Oh, I don't see chat.
Well, you can't see it now because the screen's covering everything up.
There was a chat earlier. It said, Penny, we can't see or hear you, but nothing.
Yeah, I put that in.
Yeah, but there's nothing after that.
Okay.
You can't bend over him like that.
Can't what?
Bullshit off, 22.
Okay, I'm back.
All right. This is the first one. So
He's seeing your taskbar in it.
It's a shame
what?
you can't see the sharpness. This is incredibly sharp, this picture.
Yeah, well, let's just run through it first and then we can do the
Oh, I'm
comments.
sorry. I thought you did that.
Yeah. Nope, not yet. Hang on here. Hang on. I'm getting screwed up here. I think did I miss one? Okay, yeah, here we go.
It's a crashing wave.
Mhm. Okay, here we go.
Okay, this is Alice Keck Park in infrared in IR.
Yeah, beautiful infrared image. Well done, well exposed, not always easy. Um, uh, and and the composition is delightful. But it's pretty pedestrian, I'm thinking. The one thing, that makes this really stand out, of course, is infrared, and we don't see that all the time. So I gave it, and then as far as impact, imagination, it's pretty pedestrian. So I went 7 for an excellent exposure, wonderfully done. 5-4. So we go 7-5-4.
That's a 16, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Along the Seine.
Yes, that one well shot. We, I would say though, I wasn't terribly impressed with the composition. I thought there's an awful lot of water there. I don't know whether you might have been higher, lower, whatever, but also I've seen a lot of these. It's a nice approach, a very classical image. I gave it a 6.43, only because I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to see the buildings or the tree. So there's a bit of a conflict there for me.
Crashing wave.
Okay. Again, you're missing some of the detail on this, but I think that's a good thing. I found this one to be very strongly over sharpened. There's a whole thing going on between that edge of the dark rocks in the middle there, the craggy, gnarly rocks, but they all have an edge on them that's just weird, where it just looked like things were either over enlarged, like gigapixel or something, or just over sharpened. The ridge line has got a bit of also has a bit of an artifact on it. It's got a little bit of an edge going on that's kind of messing about. I think this would have been better if it just would have been a better capture. You might not have had to try to overcompensate, and I think that's what hurt this one. So I gave it a 4.55. I mean, it would have been. The reason I give it a 5 at the end is because it's spectacular shot, great timing, wow, fun. But I'm afraid that production on it wasn't good enough. It's
Seafoam.
really interesting. I don't know if we're trying to see little creatures in sea foam, but I did. So I think it's a great, nice spot. I mean, wow, cool. Go for it. That's great. Good exposure. Sharp as attack, but you can't see here. So we didn't get carried away too much. The composition, I mean, finding this wonderful find, this would have been my first shot. Let's get it before it goes away, standing over it. But then I would have played with it and would have said, well, how can I make this more interesting? Maybe I could come in at an angle. Maybe I could crop it differently, which you could have done in post. So I think it was maybe a little bit of an opportunity missed. It is fun, but it's just kind of sitting there in the middle of the square. And it's certainly intriguing. It's not, not something I haven't seen before. So I will go 7.45 on this one.
7.45. That's a 14.
16.
16 rather. I'm sorry.
Yeah, good shot though. Yeah. Okay, spring runoff.
Spring runoff. Yes.
Sorry, stepping on your line. Spring runoff. Yes. I'm afraid I gotta say, boy, great place to be in springtime, watching all that water, those wonderful rocks. It's kind of a pool, but I just don't think it was well done. The You may even see it here if you look sort of to the right, where the main fall's coming down. If you follow down with your finger and you're in the lower right kind of quadrant, all that water is breaking up in artifacts. I'm not sure why. I don't know what happened there, but it really ruins sort of the soft look of what this should be doing. So I think there was perhaps again some over processing. Many of these rocks, particularly the one rock, I wish I could say that's, I will say in the meridian just to the right of center, that one rock kind of by itself, it's got an outline around it as big as my finger. So I kind of dinged it for a lot of that. So I gave it a 3.44. And again, we've all seen it. For impact and things like that, I want to see something I haven't seen before.
Tidal fingers.
Lovely shot. I haven't seen that before. I mean, I really like that. I might have messed around with the cropping a little more. It feels a little too 50-50 for me. But it's interesting as hell. There's a little dropout on the highlights in the foam, so it might have been a little too contrasty. But boy, as far as impact, it's very impactful. I'm just going, wow, never seen that before. You got a 7 for that. So we go 6, 6, 7 on Tidal Fingers.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of a 4x5 proportion. It could have been better as maybe a 4x6, a little narrower maybe, just to play up that fight between the water and the sand. So anyway.
Delivering luggage.
18.
Okay. Okay. 2 dings in the front. One is that the picture's crooked. I hate that when I'm looking at water. So the church, I know that Venice is sinking, but I don't think it's sinking that badly yet. So there's a bit of a tilt here. And I also think it would have made the picture stronger had I not seen any of the foam in the front and just would have cropped out the bottom inch or so and just left it with our dear delivery man in the ancient church in Venice. And also the fact that the driver of the boat is kind of overlapping one of the pilings. That's a little distracting for me. One of the things that I do when anything's moving, I always take several, either put it on motor drive or just go click, 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 and then edit it later. So I make sure that I don't have funny little overlaps and things like that. But I love the mood and the feeling's good. I like it. That's so 6. That'd be a 5, 6, 5. But again, 2. It's. I mean, I don't know. It's just because I've been to Venice, but I've kind of, it's not that outrageous of a shot. So
View from Notre Dame.
yes,
View
which
from
is
Notre Dame.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Notre Dame. Lovely classical image. Obviously, it has more meaning now because of the terrible things that happened. But I've and it's it's expertly done. So definitely a 7. The cropping, the idea of it, the tree at the right. I mean, the pigeons on the wall. The fact that we don't see any goddamn tourists. I'm going 7, 7, 6 on this bad boy. I really like it a lot. It's gorgeous.
Okay. I don't think we have any ties, do we?
Well, actually,
Do.
we do for third place.
Yeah, we
Okay.
don't have any honorables on this because it's only 8.
No honorable mentions, but we have a 3-way tie for third. Nope,
yeah, I
nope,
see.
nope, you're wrong. We
Huh?
don't. We have no ties. I missed third place. We
Oh,
have a clear third place.
okay, great.
So good.
So, okay, let me start.
Nope. I was right the first time. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
No,
there
no,
were.
no, there are 3 16s.
There's
Right.
3 16s.
Right.
Yep,
Okay.
I'm goofy. Yeah.
Okay,
So
let's
we need
fire
to
them
break
up
the
then.
tie between number 1, the first one, Alice Keck Park and IR.
Okay.
Number 4, Seafoam. And
Okay.
number 7, Delivering Luggage.
Okay.
Okay, and they're tied for what?
We're going to pick our third place winner from these 3.
Okay. I'm going to say Seafoam.
Seafoam.
Yeah, because that is a wonderful find. I mean, you got to be paying attention, but that was pretty cool. So I like that. Yeah,
Okay.
of the three.
Okay, so Seafoam was number 3.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All righty. We're ready. This is titled Alice Kick Park in IR by Tony Martindale. Along the Seine by Jim McInnes. Crashing Wave by Cheryl Decker. Seafoam in third place by Ed Paul. Spring Runoff by Gregory Doudna. Tidal Fingers in second place by Penny Powell. Delivering Luggage by Jim McInnes. And our first place, View from Pont Notre Dame by Jim McInnes.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me stop sharing here. We're coming back up. Very good.
Yay.
All right. Thanks, Bob. That's a great job.
Sure. Happy to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
I did want to make up one comment.
Okay.
On the Sea Dragon, number 4 in the color
Let me.
category.
Okay, let me bring it back up here.
Okay.
Color.
There it is.
Yeah, I agree with you on the edges of that. It was a matter of probably over processing. But I just wanted to point out it was a single image. Everything is original in the image.
Good.
But it was getting really close. I mean, it was getting dark, and it was probably underexposed. And I was trying to lift the shadows and brighten up the sky, and I think that's probably what caused all the edging issues.
Yes,
I'm not.
yeah, I've seen that, because I've obviously worked in all of that realm. One of the things that when you do have hard edges like this, I had a piece from Africa that I was just struggling with immensely. And it was, at the time, it was underexposed, but it was just the shot. I couldn't let it go, right?
Yeah.
So I started processing. And then I literally went in at 200%, and I worked the entire edge of that animal.
That's probably
Was
what I.
standing on a cliff overlooking the Masai Mara, and to get some detail in him and to still capture the Masai Mara in broad daylight, it was very difficult. But you got to go in and you work the
Meeting's
edge.
still going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
worked
it
on
was
that.
all the filters, even the
One right here
AI
is this picture.
filters.
She's talking
they
about it, and
don't
this
do
guy's
it
the
as
judge,
well.
and he's saying what he
Yeah.
thought about it.
Somebody needs to.
Yeah, we're
come
almost
up.
done. We already did all the judging. Now we're just talking about some of the pictures.
Yeah.
You like taking pictures? You like drawing pictures?
Who are
Yeah.
you talking to, Jeannie?
No?
Jeannie, turn your mic off.
Jeannie, turn your mic off.
Oops, sorry. I usually have it off, so I forgot I had it on.
That's okay. But anyway, I just wanted to say that I worked on it quite a bit, and
Yeah.
I was unhappy with the sky. To me, the sky, it does look kind of fake. There's something about the coloring that doesn't look quite right to me, and I just couldn't figure out how to fix it.
Yeah, it's you get shots like that because I think it's a great capture. It's fabulous. I really do.
Okay. Good.
You're just gonna have to bear down on some of it.
Maybe
Because we
desaturate?
do have these abilities in Lightroom and Photoshop and with these various third-party filter things, AI filters and stuff. They'll do that, but you got to look close because they don't do it all. They just
Yeah.
really don't. You'll always have that edge. And the edge, it used to drive me crazy 30 years ago when I was working on car business.
Mhm.
Because we'd get a car and then we'd shoot it in an 8x10, for God's sakes, big Sinar camera, and we had a big piece of film like this. And then they would do the scan to do the separations for the catalog. And then we would go in there, and one of the things the ancient scanners used to do back 30 years ago is they would actually add sharpening by default. So sometimes you'd be sitting there and you might have a dark edge against a bright background of some sort. And if this is the edge of your car you're trying to sell, you always had to struggle with that. So it's just been something that you've had to struggle with, and I don't think anybody solved it yet automatically, other than going in by hand at magnification and making sure that the transition between the object and the background is natural. So
Okay.
yeah,
It's a problem with the physics.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
The
Because
way
you're trying to do it with math and you're going,
yeah, the way the light changes, when you go between sharp edges, or you have a big contrast between two objects, it's always a problem.
yeah.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate your.
But I think it'd be worth working on that edge because it is an interesting image.
Would you change the coloring in the sky at all?
I don't know. Like I said, one of the things I like about it is the warm and the cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because at this time of day, the water gets very blue, especially the foam and everything. And but the sky can be quite warm. I mean, in the original, was there this much contrast between the warmth of the sky and the cool of the water?
Yeah, all the colors are there.
Yeah.
I just tried to, I actually desaturated it a little bit.
Probably a good idea because we might not have believed it. but nonetheless, all you got to do is clean up that edge around the rock, and I think you're going to be okay.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, especially for me.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask a question here. I will hit you.
You're sinking church.
Where is it tilted? I don't see it.
Okay, if I pulled a line down and right where the dome is at the right, and then the water line of the church or the island,
Mm-hmm.
and even the very faint horizon that I kind of see going through the pilings, everything's kind of tilted to the left. Look at the tower. So in Photoshop, you can pull in a vertical line, and that tower is leaning, and we're not in Pisa.
Well, but you are in Venice.
That's true.
Everything in Venice leans.
No,
Anyway.
no, Jim, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I will say this: if you have a whole line of buildings, you're looking at across the main canal at a whole stand of buildings. They are all cockamamie, that's for sure. But we're out here with one, and we're on a boat, and that poor church may be leaning, 2 degrees south or whatever it is, but it looks like you just had a little Dutch on your camera and your boat was maybe rocking too. So it's like whether you want people to think that it is leaning or that you missed the shot is all. And I would, if were this my piece of art, I would straighten out the island. I just would. And I think it'd be still as marvelous a shot as it is,
Yeah.
but at least I wouldn't feel like something's off, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, actually, for the record, I wasn't on a boat. I was actually walking.
oh, really? What's all this?
After a few drinks, probably.
Yeah, you're probably drinking. I'm thinking maybe that's the problem.
You know, Venice has very hard water. Uh, one other comment here. This photograph
Yes.
I made in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and subsequent to making this photograph, I was looking at through photos by Eugene Atget,
Yeah.
and he made one that's almost identical to this. It's only a difference in the way the camera is pointed, a slight angle
Oh, how
difference.
fun! You got to send it to me. Let me
Yeah,
see it. That's
I was surprised. And for
no,
people who
yeah, this was marvelous, Jim. I loved and one of the things that makes the shot is this foreground tree on the right.
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
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 just brilliant. It's lovely, and then of course it's emotional because of what happened.
yeah.
But,
Well,
That's
at
amazing.
Jay's,
and the ducks on the goddamn wall there are just
yeah,
a kick, man. They're just great.
yeah,
The best.
the pigeons are great. At
Normally,
Jay's,
we don't like pigeons, but they are photogenic.
right. At Jay's photo was made in the winter, or
Yeah.
actually in the spring. So the tree on the right has heavy foliage, leaves and stuff like that on
You
it.
think that's the same tree?
It is the same tree.
No.
And the other thing is this tree here on the left, where my pointer is,
Yeah,
was not there in 1908 or whenever at Jay made.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not. So anyway, I thought it just curious that that we took a shot that was very similar.
Yeah, a lot of, well, who wouldn't? I mean, anybody who walked by there with the camera's got to say, stop here, we're shooting a picture.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
It's
Lovely.
beautiful. You don't have to
Okay.
call the image up, but I was just gonna make a comment that the eddy with the gold
Yeah, what is that?
water, that's my Yosemite image, and I just wanted to mention that because you can make unique images in Yosemite.
Yeah, no,
That was El Capitan reflecting in the water,
no kidding. And it
Yeah.
was an actual eddy in the river.
and there was just this little eddy. It kept spinning around, and it didn't stay in the same place. It kept changing places,
Sure.
and
Yeah,
I kept chasing it. But yeah, I just
You're
like
talking about just so we,
Yeah.
yeah, this one.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
Yosemite.
yeah. That's amazing. I love the color, the whole thing. Yeah,
It just reminded me of gold. I mean,
oh no, it does. Absolutely. And that's the granite face. of-
that's yeah, it was
towers.
late in the day, so the golden color was
Oh,
reflecting in the
marvelous.
water.
What a catch. What a catch.
Yeah, it looks like gold foil floating on the
Yeah.
water.
Well, yeah, you would think, maybe that was, a toilet at the Vatican or something. I don't know.
Or let's move on.
Okay,
Okay, yeah. I'll be quiet now.
it's all right. No, lovely.
Anybody else?
I was gonna ask, what is that? I mean, I love
Yeah.
it.
And Cheryl's picture, where she's got that water going down, looks like some kind of a drain. I love that. And I was curious where that was.
The kerplop, what was it?
That was Kerplop, I think. Yeah.
That was the that was
Kerplop.
color, right?
Yeah.
Kerplop, I think it was.
It was-
Pull
it's-
that one up.
it's-
Not that
it's-
one.
The
Not that one?
Number, number
Uh,
no,
number
not
17.
that
11.
one.
Number 11.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There we
that
go.
one.
That one.
Yes, what is that?
Is Cheryl still here?
Yep.
You're muted, Cheryl.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that is our dog's watering. It's a large, I don't know, 4-foot round metal container. And
Oh,
there's a lot of stuff growing in the bottom of it that's
Really?
greenish. And I took a good sized rock, maybe 5 inches in diameter, sort of flattish, and I dropped it in there. And so you see in the center is the rock, and just below it is the shadow of the rock as it's going through the water. It hasn't yet hit the bottom, and you're seeing the splash.
Wow.
And
I
then,
love
okay,
it.
so the rock is the sort of bluish gray
In
shape.
here,
Yeah.
Yes, right
And
in
then
the
what's
center
this
of the
darker
splash.
shape up to its left? What is that, more shadow, or what is that?
In the upper left, that's just the shadow from the container, the galvanized metal container.
Wow, fun.
yeah.
But there is a shadow because the rock has not yet reached the bottom.
Right.
So the water is probably 12 inches deep. So you're seeing on the bottom to the right, that dark oval shape is the shadow of the rock as
Yeah.
it's going through the water.
Yeah.
Sunlight. Yeah. Very cool.
That
Yep.
is cool.
But I agree with you. The upper right and left, those little white places are bad. I think I was thinking I wanted you to see the roundness of it and get the gist that this was actually a container. That's why I left them in, but in retrospect, I totally agree with you. There should not be little white places in the corners.
Yeah, they're just distractions.
Yes,
They're
they
sort-
are.
And the one on the right and the one on the left, I just cropped the top out a little bit. And there's enough information to tell me that this is a round vessel of some sort.
Mhm.
We don't know whether it's ceramic or iron or big or small or what the heck it is, but
Yeah.
but yeah, they just sort of take away. I put my hands up and I said, way better picture.
Yeah,
if
no,
we-
I absolutely, I agree with you. I wish that I had
Crop the top
done that
down.
better.
Let
when
me,
I
Still
cropped.
we still have some shape up in the upper right-hand corner because we're seeing a return. But I don't think we need those little baby triangles up there. Yeah.
Yeah, and
let-
it was fun. Larry and I, my husband and I spent one afternoon experimenting with dropping things in water in the kitchen and going outside and
Boy, you guys
dropping
do
rocks
have
and
time on your
things.
hands, apparently.
so let me make a comment here. Yeah, the triangles at the top, I wouldn't crop those. I would clone them out.
Just clone them out. Okay.
Just clone them
Yeah.
out. There's no, once you start cropping, you change aspect ratios, you change all
Yeah.
kinds of things. And they're small enough that it wouldn't distort a person's perception of the
Sure.
roundness. The second thing, somebody said, if you're going to have triangles in the corner, make them large. Look at the bottoms. See
Yes,
how large they are?
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
Right. So it's these small triangles in corners that cause distractions.
This is really good advice to help me in the future. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a thing we used to always do. When you were doing commercial photography or whatever, you'd say, you got something that's right on the edge, a tangent. They used to call them tangents. And they say it's distracting. So either crop the elbow or bring the elbow in on the model, but don't leave the elbow rubbing the edge of the picture. That kind of thing.
Right.
And it was interesting. I don't know. When I was doing some of my early work with the florals, one of my first pieces had a funny tangent thing in it. And when I present to you guys were thinking about maybe doing that. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. I can't do it right now, but there was this very this lovely flower that it was actually a orchid, the phalaenopsis. And when the phalaenopsis is off the stem and it's gone, it lasts for 2 months, and then it starts to go. It gets very very translucent and very brittle, and not brittle, but soft and mushy kind of. And anyway, so I put this on the scanner, and on the scan, one little sort of it sort of got a fold in the corner, and it lit up, and it was more, you could see this, and it formed this little triangle, not at the edge of the picture, but on the edge of the plant. And boy, I worked for, I mean, like days, I thought about, should I get rid of that or leave it? And I was finally freed, and I said, I'm going to leave it. It's happenstance. It's, you know, it's what happens. And so whenever I did these, all of this work, this was early on, I said that, well, there's a definite case to be made for happenstance. You know, sometimes in your photography, there's something that happens that you might otherwise go, oh no, I got to fix that. I got to, oh no, that doesn't look right. But think about it, because maybe that's the key to that photograph. I did another piece years later, and normally if I have a subject that I'm thinking about working on, I'll keep it in water so it doesn't die too badly, and then maybe I'm going to work with it tomorrow or the day after or on the weekend or something. Well, I had a piece, and I do that. So so I put it on the scanner, positioned it, and in this case, I kind of hold it up with a string, so I'm looking at it face down, you know. And I didn't notice it, but there was a water droplet. It was maybe this big, tiny little drop of water. So it's in the scan. And I looked at it and went, I'm leaving it. It's the key to that picture. And everybody that's seen the picture says, I love that water drop. And it was just, you know, so
The accident.
it can work for you and against you, but you have to make that decision.
Your comments have just been wonderful. Thank you so much. I've really learned a lot tonight.
Sure. Happy.